Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Abigail Shute and I am the Town Sustainability Manager. So tonight we are here to review the Community Aggregation Program known as Wayland Electricity Choice. So this program has been a culmination of years of hard work from the Energy and Climate Committee, as well as residents, town staff, and our program consultants at Mass Power Choice. And I would like to emphasize that this program is a huge step towards our climate action plan goals. In fact, it is the single most effective action the town can take to decrease fossil fuel usage amongst our residents and small businesses. So both homes and businesses in Wayland actually attribute to about 56% of our emissions. And therefore, this is a very important step in the right direction. And I wanted to take this time just to acknowledge each person who played a role in making this happen. So with us here tonight is Marlana Patton of Mass Power Choice, and she is going to share some details about Wayland Electricity Choice. And afterwards, we will take any questions that you may have. So I do ask if you can hold your questions until the Q&A session, and then we'll work to sort of facilitate in-person questions as well as the ones that come in online. With that, I'll turn it over.
Just a quick thing, Robbie, can you make sure everyone is hearing okay on Zoom and can make sure?
Yeah, I see the audio black and white, but down right.
Okay, so we're good on audio?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, terrific. Thanks, Abby. Hi, in person and online. My name is Marlena Patton. And as Abby said, I'm with Mass Power Choice, which is the consulting company hired by the town to support the program. And our role is multifaceted. We're helping the town to get the program up and running. We actually helped the town get the program through a regulatory review process. We're helping getting it up and running now. And then we stick around for the duration of the program and provide customer support. So any customer support phone number you see is coming to us. Sometimes I'm even the one answering the phone. So today I'm going to try to make this program make sense with this slide presentation. And then as Abby said afterwards, we'll have some time for Q&A. So with that, I'll dive in. And I always start on this first slide. And what it says at the bottom, Wayland Electricity Choice, an electricity program from the town for residents and businesses. So this is a municipal program. This program is not from my company. We didn't bring it to the town. It's not from an electricity supply company. It's a municipal program. And it is only for Wayland residents and businesses. People in other communities cannot participate in this program. So it's very specific for the town. It's a municipal service. And it is available for both residents and businesses, not limited. Now, what kind of program is it? Well, it's called an electricity aggregation program. And if that leaves you as confused as the dog in this slide, the way to think about it is as a group electricity purchasing program. That's fundamentally what it is. And it's also a town alternative to the marketing that everybody gets in the mail, over the phone, and at your door from private electricity supply companies. So it's a town version of that is regulated by the state, transparent, has consumer protections. I'm pressing the wrong thing. There we go. All right, so what's in it for you? Why participate? Well, a big one is new electricity supply choices. So new choices for the supply part of your Eversource bill that you didn't have before. There's actually going to be 3, and I'll go into that in a few slides. Another big benefit is stable prices. So you probably remember from a few winters ago when Eversource's prices spiked high right as the Ukraine war was beginning. And that's because Eversource by law has to go out and buy electricity every 6 months. And so their prices change with the market. They go up and down, and sometimes they can go way up. Wayland has signed a long-term 24-month fixed price contract, which means the prices for the supply part of your bill, if you participate in this program, won't change for 24 months. You're not going to have a big seasonal price spike. So that stability is one of the big benefits of a municipal program like this. Another benefit is the potential to save a little bit compared to those Eversource's prices. And right now, when the program launches, all of the Wayland prices are cheaper than Eversource's current residential basic service price. All of them. There's 3 options in the program. They're all cheaper than Eversource. What we can't do is guarantee they're always gonna be cheaper than Eversource, and that's because, as I said before, Eversource's price is always changing. It changes every 6 months by law, and we don't know what their future prices are gonna be. It next changes on August 1st. We're pretty optimistic that Wayland's prices are still gonna be competitive when we hear what the new Eversource prices are gonna be. We just don't know what they are yet. The goal is to save money or to prevent competitive prices over the total 24-month term of the current 24-month contract. So that's the way to think about it. You're comparing a long-term fixed price with a short-term varying price. But right now, at launch, it's definitely cheaper. And then the third big benefit is more electricity from renewable sources, meaning sources like the sun and the wind. So through the program, you're going to automatically get more of your electricity from renewable sources, and you have the option to pay a little more and get all of your electricity from renewable sources. So what I'd like to say up front is that Wayland Electricity Choice is not a replacement for Eversource for your electric utility, and that could be very confusing. So Eversource is your electric utility if you live in Wayland and you do not have that choice. They own the poles and the wires. They have a geographic monopoly, and they are always going to deliver your electricity and send your bill. There's no choice in that. But you do have a choice in Massachusetts over who your electricity supplier is. That's the company that buys electricity for you and puts it on the grid for you. So that's where Wayland Electricity Choice comes in, because it's a change in your electricity supplier. So it can help to understand that as an electricity customer, you actually have 3 ways to buy your electricity supply in Massachusetts. The first is if your electric utility, Eversource in Wayland, buys it for you in addition to delivering it for you. So when you first open your electric account, that's what's happening. Eversource is actually providing you with 2 separate services. They're delivering your electricity, and there's a delivery charge on your bill for that. And then they're also supplying it, and there's a supply charge on your bill for that. That's called basic service. That's always there for you. You can always go back to that. And that's the price that fluctuated when the prices spiked the other year when the Ukraine war began. The basic service price for the supply part of your bill. The second option is you could sign up with one of those offers you get in the mail or over the phone. And that's a private contract with an electricity supplier. And in that case, Eversource is still your utility. They're still sending your bill. You're still calling them when the power goes out. But when they calculate your bill, they're using the price that you got from that third-party company to calculate the supply part of your bill instead of their basic service price. The third option is if the town signs a contract with an electricity supplier like that, but you get to benefit from it. So you didn't sign the contract, the town signed it. In that case, Eversource is still your utility. You're still sending the bill. You're still calling them if the power goes out, but when they calculate your bill, they're going to use a Wayland Electricity Choice price to calculate the supply part of your bill. So that's what aggregation is. I don't know how to get that bar off there, but that's what aggregation is, and that's what Wayland Electricity Choice is. Yeah. All right, so this is a picture of what I was just describing, if you like pictures. So this is if you have Eversource's basic service. This diagram on the left shows Eversource both supplying and delivering your electricity. And on the right in green is the customer, us. We're getting electricity from Eversource. And it's a wonderful thing. With Wayland Electricity Choice in place, notice it's really the same diagram. It's just that on the left, instead of having Eversource both supplying and delivering, we have a different entity supplying. That's that company, that electricity supply company that Wayland has signed a contract with. They're going to be the ones supplying it, which means buying it, putting it on the grid for you. But the right 2/3 of this diagram haven't changed at all. Eversource is still delivering your electricity. You're still receiving it with no interruption at all. Your relationship with Eversource has not been interrupted. The flow of electricity has not been interrupted. Now, I mentioned there's 3 choices in the program. So this slide is about those 3 choices. So on the far left, we have Wayland Standard Green. That's what's known as the default. Wayland had to choose an option in this program that's gonna be the one everybody gets if they don't make another choice. So that's called Wayland Standard Green. And the price there is the price that would be used to calculate the supply charge on your bill. 13.224 cents a kilowatt hour. With that, you're getting an extra 20% of your electricity from renewable sources. What do I mean extra? Well, state law says all the electricity that's sold in Massachusetts has to have a minimum amount from renewable sources. And that's what you get from Eversource. Through Wayland Standard Green, you get another 20% on top of that. Even so, the price you're paying is still cheaper than Eversource's current residential price over here. If you're a business owner, the business prices are available on waylandelectricitychoice.com. But the residential price is right here, and you can see it's significantly cheaper. So that's the one you get if you don't do anything. You also have two options in the program that are available by request. You can choose Wayland 100% green, pay a little bit more, get all of your electricity from renewable sources, or Wayland economy. That gives you just the minimum amount of renewable energy required by law, same as what you're getting from Eversource, really, just a Wayland price for it. All three of them are less expensive than Eversource's price. And there's a little bit of text at the bottom of the screen that we can't see because of that toolbar there. But it says that the prices are fixed until May of 2026. So they're 24-month prices compared with Eversource over here on the right, where the prices fluctuate every 6 months or less. And again, we're talking about the supply part of your bill. So what are you going to see on your bill? So this is the second page of your bill. The first page of your bill, you'll see Wayland Electricity Choice and the address of their electricity supplier, which is First Point Power. The second page of your bill is really where you see a little more detail. You see, again, Wayland Electricity Choice, First Point, and then you're going to see a Wayland Electricity Choice price used to calculate your generation service charge, which is your supply charge. If you have budget billing, you'll see one other change, which is budget billing will no longer apply to your supply charge. So budget billing is when you pay the same amount every month instead of your bill fluctuating with the amount that you use. So if you were to participate in Wayland Electricity Choice with budget billing continues to apply to your delivery charge, but it would no longer apply to your supply charge. Your supply charge would start to fluctuate every month based on how much you use. Otherwise, though, there are no other changes. This program is really invisible to you as a consumer once it's up and running. You just see these things on your bill, and that's really it. Your primary relationship for electricity remains with Eversource, the same as it is now. You're delivering your electricity, you're calling them when the power goes out, they're sending the bill, you're paying them, and you're not getting any other bills as a result of participating in this program. It's just integrated into your bill, as I just showed you. And importantly, if you're eligible for any discounts, like a low income discount, you're still going to receive that discount from Eversource with no change. So how do you participate? Well, participating is really easy because most people are going to be automatically enrolled, and that's the state law. This is not a decision that Wayland made. All the programs in the state, and there are about 170 now, must operate with an automatic enrollment model. Specifically, if you have Eversource's basic service, so that's what I was saying before, if you have not signed a private contract with an electricity supplier, your account would be eligible for automatic enrollment in May when the program launches. And you should have received a notification in the mail from the town bearing the town seal if you're eligible for automatic enrollment. But just because it's an automatic enrollment model doesn't mean you have to participate. Participate is not required. You are free to prevent yourself from being enrolled before the program launches, or you can try the program and opt out at any time in the future. There's no penalty or fee to leave this program, excuse me, and that makes it a bit different from some of the private offers that are out there where you have to agree to an early termination fee if you want to get the lowest price. That's not the case with this program. You can participate and leave at any time, even just 1 month. And there's no penalty or fee. So you can try it and then change your mind later. You can also, in the program, move around from one option to the other at any time with no penalty or fee.
I just want to remind people, so when Amanda said you got two things, everybody got these two, right? You got the postcard and you.
No, that's not what they got.
That's not the, and the letter. Somebody was holding the letter, Paul was holding the letter, right? And the letter, we don't get to exactly say how it's written, but,
That's not it.
that's the handout. All right, somebody else has the letter. I didn't, you got the letter, right? So the most important thing is the same week we got these, we got letters from a private supplier that was also marketing people in town. So I just want to be clear. You gotta do stuff. You're responding to the one where there's a town seal on it. So just to be clear, these are the two pieces of paper you got. If you didn't get these, it would mean that you are not on Eversource, you're signed up with a private supplier and you can still participate in the program, but these are the two pieces of paper everybody should have got. Okay, thank you.
Yes, the note about the town seal is really important because the private electricity supply companies actually keep an eye on communities that are launching programs like this. They know it's launching and they know people are looking for something in the mail. So they actually have marketing campaigns timed to make sure they're landing right at the same time the program launch materials are landing. If you get something in the mail and it looks official, and you're thinking, maybe this is from the town. If you don't see the town seal, it's not. That's the main thing to keep in mind. If it has the town seal, it's official. If there's no town seal, it's not. Even if it looks official, even if it looks like gotta be government, it's really boring. And also there's a map of the Massachusetts, that's gotta be, if it's not the town seal, it's from a private company, it's a piece of marketing. All right, so some common questions. What if it signed a contract with a private electricity supplier? So we haven't talked about that. I've been talking about if you have basic service and you're gonna be automatically enrolled, but what if you have a private contract? Well, in that case, you're not eligible for automatic enrollment, but of course you can participate. You just have to take a step to do it. And that means either calling customer support or going on waylandelectricitychoice.com and you put in your Eversource account information. There's a little short form. If you call customer support, we will use that exact same short form. We go to the same form. So waylandelectricitychoice.com has self-service for our phone number on it. And you are free to join at any time. So specifically, if you have a private electricity supply contract that doesn't end for a few months, or maybe you have one of those early termination fees, you don't want to get hit with a $150 fee, you want to wait till your contract ends, you can do that. You can enroll in Wayland Electricity Choice whenever you're ready to, and you'll get the same price, even if that's after the program launches. All right, so next one, what if you have solar panels or you participate in community solar and you get credits or you receive a payment? There's no change. Participating in Wayland Electricity Choice does not impact your net metering credit calculation or your incentive payment calculation. And you continue to receive those with no change. It's completely unrelated. And in fact, they'll go a little further because participating in Wayland Electricity Choice, at least in the near term, we know is going to lower your underlying supply costs. So when you have to buy electricity from the grid at night, when your panels are producing, say, you're going to get that lower Wayland Electricity Choice price. And then the credits or payments that you get will go a little further because that underlying bill is going to be a little bit cheaper. The next one is one I already addressed. What if I get a low income discount or even fuel assistance? There's no change again. No impact. You continue to receive those benefits if you're eligible for them from Eversource. And then budget billing, which you can't see the answer here in the room. I don't know if folks online can see, but budget billing will no longer apply to your supply charge. As I mentioned before, it will continue to apply to your delivery charge, but not to your supply charge. All right, so this is just a look at the waylandelectricitychoice.com homepage to prove to you that it exists. There's a lot of self-service on there. including forms, as I mentioned, that you can go on and help yourself to enroll in the program. If you're not eligible for automatic enrollment, opt out of the program if it's not right for you. For example, if you have budget billing and you really want to keep that on your whole bill, or change from one option to the other. There's an online form for that. There's also a customer support form, email address, and phone number, and that all comes to my company. So we'll help you with whatever you need help with, or if you're just looking at your bill and you're mixed up and you're just not sure how it all fits together, and why would you be, because this is impossibly confusing, give us a call. We'll try and help you figure it out. So I think that's it for the formal presentation part, and I'm happy to answer questions. And I'm
Is
hoping
there any
somebody-
downside?
Not really. The risk is really low for you as a consumer. So right now, you know you're gonna get a lower price and you can leave if you don't like it. There's no penalty or fee for leaving. The one thing that the program can't guarantee is that it's always cheaper than Eversource, but Eversource is also not guaranteeing that they're always the cheapest deal in town either. There's always other private offers out there. So it's very, very little downside.
I'm just gonna answer it as Ellen Toone, co-chair of the Energy and Climate Committee, and Ann Harris is my other co-chair. Look, we voted to do this at town meeting 2 years ago. The DPU approval process is excruciatingly long. It only took us 13 months. It's taken other towns 3 years. Don't even get us started. This is really something to help folks in town. You know, we get bombarded with these letters about other suppliers. You don't know, are they well vetted? Are they legitimately green, what they're saying green? Are they giving me a teaser price and then gonna bump me up? So we've really vetted these suppliers, and it's a service to you, and it helps us meet our town climate goals. I mean, a huge amount of our emissions come from us in our homes, so this is something that we can do to offer you really competitive prices and help us meet our climate goals and lock in some prices. So I personally don't think there's any downside. If you don't like it, you can always leave. You know, this is Wayland likes choice, Wayland Electricity Choice. So the default, I'll get you a clip in 1 sec. Everyone gets moved over. You can choose to go down to Wayland Economy, which is substantially cheaper even than Eversource. You go up to 100% green. A bunch of people have said, I've been waiting for this. If you don't like it at some point, just leave, go back to Eversource. The things that I just want to emphasize from Marlene is like, there's still the poles, the wires. Power goes out to the storm. I already got 3 notifications from Eversource telling me to watch out for that. There's still that. And the utility makes no profit on the supply side. It's just a pass-through charge. So we're just coming up with a different supplier, and we're getting a slightly better price because we're a subset of their overall load. And when we go out to bid, we can get a better price because we're not bidding for the whole Eversource territory. So I don't think there's a downside.
Is the price fixed for a certain period of?
2 years, 24 months. And at 24 months, we're gonna go back out to bid. And as I was saying, Paul, as a town, we will never lock in a rate that is higher than Eversource. That would be not what we're intending to do. So 2 years from now, he said, what will the prices be in 2 years? I'm like, I don't know, but energy prices, who predicted the Ukrainian war? You know, we don't know, but we're working with Mass Power, because I was thinking of you, Paragon, we're going, our Mass Power Choice, Mass Power Choice, and they've worked with 30, 40 towns. So, you know, we take their advice about how we play the market on this, but I think it's a great program, and it's really consumer protection. And I will say we are highly regulated, the Department of Public Utilities, which really does care about protecting ratepayers. So, you know, the town's doing its best and we're highly regulated. I think we're pretty good shape.
Is Wayland co-sharing in this with Sudbury, or are they a separate?
Well, that's a great question, and each town has to do it themselves. Because the town is signing the contract with the electricity supplier. When we're done with the Q&A, I'm going to talk about another thing we're doing with 3 other towns, because you're exactly right that New England's kind of nutty, right? We do these things town by town, and like you would think there'd be economies of scale, and in fact there are. So we have some other offerings that are across town, but not this one.
Thank you.
Cliff.
If you decide to opt out, you automatically opt in somewhere else, or you have to go somewhere else and opt
If
in?
you opt out, you automatically get put on Eversource basic service.
Correct. So,
And then you can, from there, if you want to go do something else, do something else.
so you don't have to make a choice. Eversource's basic service is always your default. So if you don't make any choice at all, even if you never participated in this program, you would be on Eversource's basic service. So you're there unless you actively choose to be somewhere else.
So, but for this, everyone in Wayland is getting moved to this program.
Yes,
Then if you choose to leave, you get bumped back to Eversource,
Yes.
and then from there, you can do what you want. Go to any of the other
You
private
do a
ones.
live demonstration of how you opt out. You have to go in, enter your password, put in your account number, tap your head, turn upside down, hope that it works right, and then click this key.
I did it the other day, it wasn't that hard. I only had to tap my head once, Cliff. You have to just put just your account number was all it asked for, and my
You
name.
don't need an account or
we
password.
could
No
show-
password.
Let's see
We
if
could
we
do
can pull up, we'll see if Abby can pull up
But,
the form.
but
and
Cliff,
show
it
you
was
what
just,
looks
it needed my Eversource account number, my name, the name that's on the bill. So I had to remember, was it my name or John's name? That took a moment, right? So whether it's your name and
If
that's.
if I get your bill, I can go opt you out.
You could, but I protect my Eversource account number like it's my social security.
Yeah.
So does everybody.
Right, so, and if someone put in an account number that was not a Wayland account number, you would, it wouldn't
Yeah,
job.
Eversource would reject
It
it.
would get
It wouldn't-
rejected.
You couldn't, it wouldn't be able to enroll.
So we can go on the site, there was also a piece of paper they could fill out and mail back that came in that letter
If you
too.
wanna opt out, yes, the notice you got in the mail would have come with a reply card that you could just sign and put in the mail. So you don't even have to go on the website.
Unless it went in the wastebasket because it was.
Or you could call the customer support number that's on the notice and we'll get your information over the phone. You don't have to use the form. We'll take your information.
You're saying Eversource's supply charge right now is 17.16. If you have a graph over time, how that's changed for the last 3 or 4 years?
I don't with me. I can tell you it's come down since the Ukraine war. But it changes, as I said, they go out by law every 6 months to buy electricity, so it just tracks the market. So wherever the
Nice to
electricity
look
market
and see
is.
what the real
It's
numbers are.
basically, so Paul, you can speak to this, it's basically, energy prices generally been going up about 3% a year. So generally, the trend line's been like this, but
The gas bill goes up, and so you're taking 3% here, I don't think so.
but they've been generally going up. Do you want to speak to this?
Yes, so that's certainly true is that, electricity prices have been trending up, both because market prices have been going up and also the state has been imposing more requirements which increase price.
So electricity follows natural gas prices. Natural gas prices do not steadily go up. They go whoosh like this. And I'm not buying that argument.
Well,
We have a graph we're happy to
Yeah.
share with you, Cliff.
So-
True.
it is the case that natural gas prices and wholesale electric prices were steady from about from about 2014 to about 2020. Then they've started to
Shot
go
way
up
up,
and
and
they
they
shot
came
way
way
up.
back down.
And they're now they're lower than they were at the peak, but not as low as they were.
Natural gas,
Five or six
$2
years
a
ago.
million cubic feet, billion BTU. It
So,
was 20 and it was two.
yeah, so separately, if it would be helpful, I can send you a graph of wholesale electric prices. It is true that short-term natural gas prices
Yeah,
are down as low as they were, pretty close to where they were at the
Right.
bottom.
Yeah.
But not if you want to contract for the next 2 years, because suppliers of natural gas, there's a lot of natural gas today, so you can buy it cheap today.
yeah.
But there's a risk that a year from now, 2 years from now, we'll be in shortage again. And so that's reflected both in longer term natural gas prices and in wholesale electric prices. The other factor, though, is that retail electricity prices are not just the wholesale price.
Right.
They're the wholesale price plus regulatory requirements, which have been increasing, particularly the renewable energy requirements.
Right.
So it's interesting to look at past basic service prices, and we'd be happy to share those with you, so you have them, or either the state also publishes them, so you can see them there. It's not necessarily a predictor of where the
I
future is.
understand.
What I can tell you that might be meaningful is that if we look at programs like this compared to basic service, and UMass did a study of it, and they found that about 80% of programs like this have produced savings relative to basic service at the time. So basic service goes up and down. By and large, 80% or so of programs like this have been less than basic service has been. So we can't guarantee it will always be. That's not the case. It's 100% or cheaper. But about, according to UMass, about 80% have been cheaper than basic service.
But if you watch these things, which I don't, but if you look at Mass, I mean, at Eversource, next time they renew their contract, it goes down to 12 cents. And we could.
Then you can opt out.
You
Yeah,
opt out.
opt out then if you want to opt
6
out.
months later, it goes to 20 cents and we can opt out.
If you opt back in, you're not guaranteed this price.
Correct.
I'll let Mara explain.
It's not designed for people to bounce in and out of
I
the
see.
program, so you can always leave.
Right.
But if you come back, you might get charged a higher market price. It's very expensive for the electricity supplier to allow people to just bounce in and out like that, like you can with basic service, which is a higher price.
Right.
So there's a provision that allows them to charge a higher market price if you go in and out of the program, but you can always leave with no fee or penalty.
What's that delta?
It depends on where the market is at the time you want to come back.
Is it like 20 cents a kilowatt hour or 400 cents a kilowatt hour?
It's unlikely to be
Whichever.
400, but it would be wherever the market is at the time you want to come back. So it depends really on when that is. If it's in a year from now and the market's gone crazy, maybe it would be a lot higher.
What market is this we're talking
The
about?
electricity market.
Well, we just heard the electricity market as wholesale, retail, spot, long-term, so which one?
It would be the market for retail
Retail,
electricity.
yeah.
So
At that moment?
Yeah.
at that
Yes.
moment in time, correct.
Yes. And you asked about the opt-out form, just,
Yeah.
we were able to pull it up here to show you. So if you go on waylandelectricitychoice.com, in the upper right corner, there's an orange button here that says opt out. You just click on that and it takes you to a form where you just fill in your name, your account number, your service address, city zip, an email address, so you can get an automatic record that you requested to opt out, and a phone number in case we need to call you if there's any issues with what you submitted. And then you hit submit and that's it. Yep.
Question if I may, so the pricing I see here for the Wayland, automatic, enrollment, is there a differential for commercial versus residential?
No, everybody gets the same price in the program.
And what about delivery fees? Is that a separate issue?
Totally separate. The program does not impact delivery charges. So the delivery part of your bill is where Eversource makes its profit, as Ellen mentioned earlier. And there's a lot of embedded regulatory charges there, and they move according to their own black magic, and we cannot control them. The
Gotcha.
only thing we can control is the supply part of the bill.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, got a couple of questions. Back to the pricing form. We get automatically enrolled in the basic service.
When you open your electricity account and you haven't made any other choices, you get Eversource's basic service.
Right, so we're in that now.
If you got a notice in the mail, yes. Yep.
And you're saying that we automatically go into the Wayland electricity choice
Yeah.
basic service?
So it's not called basic service when you're in Wayland's program. It's only called basic service if you haven't made any choices. You have Eversource's default. So that's called basic service. So I'm on the web page now. I'm not on the presentation. But this is a web page that has options and prices. So if you do nothing, if you're eligible for automatic enrollment and you do nothing, you get enrolled in the standard green,
Okay.
which is the middle option in Wayland's program. There are two other options. You can choose Wayland 100% green to pay a little bit more, you get everything from renewable sources, or Wayland economy and pay a little bit less. And then you get the same electricity mix you're getting from Eversource, just a Wayland price for it. And all three of those are cheaper than Eversource's basic service, which you may have now, which is 17.21.
So if I do nothing right now, I go into the Wayland economy?
Standard
You get the
green.
Standard
I go to
green,
standard
that's
green.
the default, and you have to take an action, you just have to make a choice for one of the other two, which you can do either on the website or by calling customer support. The website has a change your option button right here in the corner, it's a very similar form, or just give us a call and have your bill in your hand. And if you got a notice in the mail, then it would have the phone number on it, you can just call us.
Assuming I got one of these notices and I threw it away because it looked like a piece of stuff to throw away and I do nothing. then I become a standard green
Correct.
all by itself.
Yes.
State law says that's how they work, correct.
And this would be effective when?
May, so that's a great question, I didn't really clarify that, so the program launches in May, and you first see the price on your June bill. And the prices are fixed from May 2024 to May 2026.
During that period, one of you all mentioned, about the Eversource has a 6-month review of the prices that they're charging.
Mhm.
If they should go down, without me having to monitor the thing, will it tell me on my bill, oh, by the way, Eversource price went down?
No, in the same way it wouldn't if you signed a private contract. So no, it doesn't, but it's a regulatory requirement that Eversource's current price always has to be on this page on the website. So you can always come to waylandelectricitychoice.com,
So
look
I
at
have
the
it
current
on.
Eversource price and see it there. I will add that if you want to participate in a program like this and you really are thinking about price, you have to take the long view. It's
Yeah.
normal for a program like this to beat Eversource sometimes, but to be higher and worse than Eversource other times, because the Eversource price is always moving. So your goal isn't to beat Eversource every 6-month price period. It's to beat Eversource over the full 24 months. So just keep that in mind, that it is normal for a program like this to sometimes beat Eversource and sometimes not, but on average to provide a little bit of savings. Not enough to buy a car, not enough to go to the Bahamas, but a little bit.
And I just want to say, if you're saying, I am really price sensitive, I don't know your name, but I'm Ellen. So if you're really price sensitive, you think, I just want to always have the lowest price, then you should opt down to Wayland Economy. Okay, and then you're gonna get the minimum green that the state requires the utility or any supplier to provide. That now on our price is 12, what is it, like 12 something?
Scroll it down there. There you go.
12.4, Eversource is 17.2. We
Yeah.
expect Eversource's price to drop in August, but we picked a price that we still believe will be below theirs. I can't tell you what they're gonna do, what the DPU will approve, right? I can't. But if you're saying to me, you know what, I'm gonna go with Wayland Standard Green. I can look up Eversource bill and see if I'm lower and I can move to economy. If you're just saying, I don't wanna worry about it, I just wanna pick the lowest possible price, then go with Wayland Economy. And I think it's highly unlikely that Eversource, Paul, will go from 17 cents to below 12 cents in the next.
Correct.
That would be
very unlikely.
completely unprecedented. That would be a shocking situation. I can't say it won't happen, but it would be without precedent. Yeah, just to, finish with this gentleman.
You said the process took 13 months
Yeah,
or a
yeah.
little longer than that once it was approved to
Yeah.
actually do it. It's a 2-year contract. Right?
We've
Yes.
locked in the price for 2 years. You're not locked in for 2
Right,
years.
2 years.
You can do whatever you want.
At the end of those 2 years, you need to get a new bid. you
Yes.
said.
Correct.
How long is that gonna take?
Oh, no, that'll be faster. The process we went through with the Department of Public Utilities was they had to approve our approach to doing this, our plan on our outreach and how we were gonna do it. Even though these guys have written this for 30 other towns and they are 95% the same, the plans you submit, it nonetheless appears to take them 1 to 2 years to review them, right?
What's it gonna be?
It is exhausting. You can't imagine the frustration. So when we go back out for supply bid, we'll go out before it's going to run out.
Correct.
And we will not, the intention would be not to have any lag.
Yes, so it's a pretty quick process. We'll take the town out, we'll get competitive bids before it expires. And then if you're in the program, you would actually get a letter in the mail before the new prices go into effect, telling you what they are. And then you could decide, do I want to opt out back to Eversource's basic service or do nothing and get the new price?
And as I said to Paul earlier, I think it's Paul, right? As a town, we would not negotiate, lock in another price that was higher than Eversource basic service. We just wouldn't do it. If we got bad surprise prices, so we're trying to help all of us, so we just wouldn't make that choice.
Thank
Right.
you.
Going
Are there
back
other
to what he
comments?
said,
I mean, I pay an electric bill too, right?
going back to what he said about the mail, it probably got tossed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
we don't have to
automatically,
do anything unless we wanna
so first of
shift
all,
down to.
What I would say is if you're not sure if you got something in the mail, then I would say give us a
Call.
call. Because some people are signed up with private contracts and don't know it or forgot it. So if you're not sure, give us a call and we can find out.
Phone number.
I'm gonna give you handouts from that, but
Yep,
even better.
This is all I need.
yeah, that's got all the information you need. Yep,
Okay.
yep. So if you're not sure, call us and we'll let you know if you were on the list to be automatically enrolled or not.
Alright, but
Wait,
I know
we
you were
just
second.
want to check and see if we've got some online questions, because these folks are going.
Anybody else need stuff?
Yeah, so our first one is, how will customers with net metering agreements be impacted by switching suppliers? So they mean solar.
Yep.
metering.
Yep, so solar net metering is not impacted at all by this program. It's completely unrelated. You still get the same credits you always did. There's no change in how they're calculated. This program only impacts you when you buy electricity from the grid. Like at night, when your solar panels are not producing, you have to buy electricity from the grid. Then this program will impact the price you pay for that electricity. And it may bring that price down. And then those credits that you're getting will go a little further. But it's completely disconnected, does not impact net metering credits.
And then the next one is, after enrollment, if we decide to install solar panels, will it be possible? Will it impact the program? How will it be charged?
Yep, again, totally not related. I think it's a great idea. Please install solar. And then when those solar panels are not producing, participate in this program to bring that price down. And to make sure that the electricity you're buying from the grid is cleaner.
The next one is, I have a 6-month contract with another supplier. The April bill is the last one before we go to the new contract, which is probably a higher price. If I sign up right away, will the change happen in time for my May bill?
So Wayland's program launches with May meter reads, your May to June billing cycle. So if that's when you want the change to be effective, then I would say you would want to enroll in April as soon as possible, and we'll get you in for that May launch. Does anybody, I don't off the top of my head remember what the opt-out deadline is? Those of you that brought the letter. April 22nd? Okay, thank you. So you'll want, if you're listening, you want to make that request by April 22nd. To make sure you get enrolled for the May to June billing cycle when the program launches. That's the first billing cycle the program will be in effect.
Do you have supply sources, including Eversource, to secure the supply you need?
We have supply sources, meaning.
Just explain, how do we find our supplier? Who is the supplier? What are their suppliers?
Yeah, so just electricity suppliers, first of all, are middlemen. They go out and they deal with the electricity generators. So Wayland has signed a contract with a company called First Point Power, which is an electricity supplier. They won the bid. There are several that bid to supply aggregations. First Point Power is a New England based company. They're just terrific to work with. We work with them in a number of communities. They go out and they're under contract with Wayland to go out and buy enough electricity to put on the grid, and they'll buy it from a number of sources, including by contract, some that are renewable. Yes, there is plenty of electricity out there, and it's First Point Power's obligation to buy it and get it put on the grid. And it's the price that they have offered to do that is the price you folks are paying.
If First Point Power is out of business, what happens?
So if they go out of business, you still have electricity. The amount that they're responsible to put on the grid, if they fail to get it done, it's not going to destabilize the grid. There's an independent grid operator that's going to make sure there's a lot of electricity on the grid, but First Point Power would be penalized financially, and probably everybody would go back to Eversource's basic service. Or maybe another supplier would pick up the contract. That's happened as well.
This is conjecture on your part.
No, we've actually been through this with a program, the program where the supplier went bankrupt, another supplier bought the contract and honored the price. So for customers, it was completely invisible.
The next one might need a little bit of clarification. It was, what is the town selection criteria for picking you
the supplier.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah, and just to clarify, we're not the supplier, we're the consultant.
Yeah, so the town, did a competitive RFP to pick the consultant to help us on this project, and we used criteria around their experience and their, references and, their capability and their capacity, and, we had, 3 bids and we, selected Mass Power. First.
And then the last one is, will Eversource service be different, for example, in the event of an outage or the need for a repair?
No, Eversource maintains the poles and the wires. They still have the same obligation as always to deliver your electricity. They're your electric utility, whether you like it or not in Wayland. And there's not some asterisk by your account because you're participating in this program. They're not losing money because you're participating in it. So they're really neutral as to whether you're in this program or you have their basic service or you sign a private contract. That's not the part of the bill where they make a profit. So it doesn't matter to them. They still have the same responsibility they always did to keep your lights on.
And I'm gonna do those other couple slides like that.
If I sign up for the all green options, so all renewable,
How do you?
no, if I do, if you've been through that, if I sign up.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting all green power, but we know that renewables aren't there all the time. What happens if there's not enough renewable power to supply my needs?
Well, you want to answer that? They've committed to it.
Yeah, so the supplier's committed to buying the renewable energy that meets the contract requirements. There isn't a shortage of it. There's not, it's not an issue of there not being enough of it. If your concern is that like sometimes the wind doesn't blow or the sun doesn't, so that's not gonna affect you because all this electricity gets commingled on the grid, right? It's like a big swimming pool and you're pouring water in from a lot of sources. It all gets commingled. And there's a grid operator that is responsible for maintaining the stability of what's on the grid. So as the sun comes up and the solar panels start producing, the grid operator is bringing down fossil fuel things. Or if the,
Always work, sometimes the problem.
it's worked pretty well so far. We have an awful lot of renewables on the grid already in New England. And so if it's not windy and the solar panel, it's cloudy and the solar panels aren't producing, they've got plants that are waiting that they're fossil fuel based that they turn on to make sure that the grid remains stable.
I understand we're not in Texas, but that doesn't work very well down there.
Yeah, but
We're not there. We're definitely not there.
We're happy to be
We're happy
regulated.
not to have that grid. Yes.
All right, so I wanna, Anne, I want to ask you to hand these things around. So first thing Anne said, so Anne and I are co-chairs of the Energy Committee. We have a terrific committee. It's done great things. We saved the town about $250,000 a year, and we've brought in $1.3 billion grant funding and leveraged 6 to 7 million of private money to put up the solar panels that are generating a lot of money in town. So our community-based organization, Energize Wayland, some of you may get their newsletter. I think I recognize a few faces, is a newsletter that goes out and tells you about events going on in town related to energy and climate. And if you don't subscribe, I don't think it's annoying. We go out every 6 weeks and we try to make you aware of events. So if you'd like to get that newsletter, I encourage you to try it. If you hate it, unsubscribe. We have a couple of events that I'm going to be telling you about in a second. So the first thing is you ask, aren't we doing this with other towns? Like what's going on? And the answer is we are now in the midst of a campaign called Plug-in with Acton, Framingham, Natick, and Wayland. And this has a campaign that is promoting these 3 technologies: solar, home solar, which works very well with Wayland Electricity Choice; heat pumps. So if you need AC and your AC is dying, it's a great moment to think about heat pumps for your house. They're terrific incentives. And community solar, which is a way to further reduce your electric bill by about 12%, sign up with a community solar project. And I'm happy to talk to any about that over here because that's not what tonight's about. We have 2 upcoming events about community solar where you can learn about them. You save about 12% on your bill. These 4 towns have done, with the help of a nonprofit, done a competitive procurement to identify community solar providers. So for all 3 of these technologies across these towns, we're going to let you do 5 things. 1, learn about the technology. 2, find a coach. We have volunteer coaches. Anne is one of our heat pump coaches. I'm the community solar coach in town. to help you think through these choices that can sometimes be complicated. So learn about the technology, get a coach, learn about the money. There are great incentives from the state and federal government. Identify vendors who might be good and read testimonials. Read about neighbors who have chosen to do this and the vendors they like and their experiences. So we're trying to make that all really easy for people. And we have a couple of upcoming events. This was from my webinar last night on home solar with battery backup. So we had Wayland Electricity Choice yesterday and today. We had a webinar on adding solar to your house. If your house is a roof that is, not more than 10 or not more than 15 years old, you're not too shady. Solar these days, the payback's around 7 years. Just on rough averages, 6 to 10 years. And we have these 2 upcoming events on community solar. You can go to this website called Plug-in Metro West. This task force, it's called pluginmetrowest.org, and read about those events. And also, if you go to Energize Wayland, you can see that. Let me also say, town meeting coming up, we'll have 3, for those of you who go to town meeting, clips are regular, I know. At town meeting, we'll have 3 town meeting articles related to climate, 2 related to solar, 1 sort of a housekeeping article. We're putting solar on the local school. We already agreed to do that. We go to town meeting when we have to extend contracts. So we want to make that contract 25 years instead of 20. It's a little better financial deal for us. We're adding solar to the roof and canopies at the Council on Aging building. And when we sign a long-term contract for that, we have to get town meeting approval. And then we're asking town to approve adopting a new code for Wayland to join 33 other towns that have adopted. It's called the Specialized Code. It's a code to encourage it only applies to new construction, brand new buildings, commercial or residential, that they be either all electric, not use gas or oil, or if they use gas, because very few people would put in oil these days, that they put solar on to the extent that the forest around allows that to happen. Passing that code allows us to qualify for additional grant monies. Ann and I and the committee have been successful, and Abby was just successful in our last round, so we brought in probably over $750,000 in grant funds, and we'd like to continue to be eligible for the most possible money coming to Wayland to do things. So we'll be talking about adopting that code as well. So that's May 13th for those who don't have it on their calendar. So we have a lot going on. So if you're interested, May
9.
that was May 13th. Well, apparently we don't know. You'll get a town, Abby, do you know?
Meeting is May 13th.
May
I was
13th.
gonna say, I thought it was the town meeting.
May 13th.
Sorry.
Yeah. We will have one other event that I didn't put up here. Thank you though for that. On May 9th, we're gonna do one more of these sessions where we talk about Wayland Electricity Choice, review the town meeting articles, and we'll talk more about community solar and how Wayland Electricity Choice, with the great savings we have now, you can layer in community solar and get additional savings. So that's great. You'll save money on your bill and you're supporting the clean energy economy by making those kinds of projects show demand for subscribers so they can continue to finance. The state is highly encouraging that, and so it results in savings on our bills. If you're a lower income household, the savings can be up to 22% of your bill. So lots to offer you if you're interested in heat pumps, solar, or community solar. Ann and I are here, happy to chat about any of those. And if you join the Energize Wayland newsletter, you'll just get an occasional email about every 6 weeks telling you about stuff going on. Any other final questions? Anybody else from the Zoom?
No,
Robbie?
I'll let you know what, no Vaseline.
No, everybody good? Listen, it was a rainy, cold night, so I appreciate you coming out. I always appreciate questions. We're trying to be as transparent and helpful as possible. So if you think of a question later, their phone number is the place to go. Ann had them too. There are postcards and stuff here that have their number on it right here. So if you need to have their number, Abby and I called it as a trial day to see, they're there Monday through Friday. So if you call them, we can leave a message. They'll get back to you within a day. They're super responsive. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Thank you.